Previously, we have dealt with the downward and upward movement of corporate communication, but today I would like to deal with the lateral or horizontal movement of communication and wind up with the diagonal or crosswise communication. Now, let's understand what is lateral movement or horizontal movement. In corporate world, we see there are many designations of the same category and people interact. Those who interact in this same category belongs to the lateral category because their movement, their communication is based on the same hierarchy. Therefore, people on the same hierarchy having a communication belongs to the horizontal movement of communication. Let us find out what are the purposes. To begin with the purposes, we must concentrate on the following uses of this particular movement. The first purpose is the coordination. Unless and until different units, different departments coordinate with each other, the corporate movement does not come to a fruition. And at the same time, when we talk about the parallel movement, the lateral movement parallelly in different departments, obviously there would be certain problems and we have to find a solution for it. So, one great purpose of this lateral movement is solution, and by solution we do not mean there is always a problem, but there is solution to finding a common goal. And to find a common goal, there can be problems as such, hitches, which have to be resolved. So the next purpose is to resolve these problems. While resolving the problems, one needs to inform, share information with each other. Therefore, another purpose of this movement is informing each other, and finally we must promote relationship through this particular movement where every department interacts with the other department. When we talk about lateral movement, the next in the next category we will find the methods of this movement. There are certain methods which are applied to make this movement effective. Obviously, let us go back to the very old primary method is a telephonic message to each other, which, yes, it is used, but nevertheless it is one of the old methods. We now have the second method, which is a face-to-face method. Though official, it is rather informal. And below that we have the meetings. By meetings, we can have usual corporate meetings or which are programmed, or in the next step we can also have written notes. But written notes, by this we may not mean the physical notes, because in today's world, though there are certain physical notes, we usually use the digital mediums. And the digital medium is, by digital medium we must mention the emails. It is generally the emails which convey our messages on a day-to-day basis. Regarding the merits of this movement, we must first point out that the basic merit of this movement is having mutual trust, mutual confidence, mutual understanding among each other. People from different departments work on a daily basis, they interact with each other. Therefore, it is very, very important that they trust each other, and when they trust each other, they are focusing on a common goal, they are standing on a common platform. And thereby the next merit that would generate is cooperation and coordination. When we talk of cooperation and coordination, different departments work in a sync. Therefore, cooperation, coordination in every activity is a must. In the third step, we must consider the problem solving areas. By problem solving areas, the first criteria of problem solving is to talk to each other. Regular interaction among the partners of different departments, it helps if we resolve our differences through lateral talking, through lateral conversation. And finally, it also solves the interdepartmental problems. It can be interpersonal problems also, because each human being is different, each department is different, they may have different kinds of problems. Therefore, to solve interpersonal and interdepartmental problems, we bank on lateral communication. Obviously, if there are merits in any movement, then obviously there are demerits too. The first demerit is rivalry among employees. When quite a few people are in the same designation, in the same category, there will be automatically a sense of rivalry to reach the higher rung of the ladder, of the hierarchy. So this is one of this very, very common corporate problem. The other problem is the area of specialization. When we are talking about specialization, we mean that each department may deal with special areas. Accounts may deal with its own area, while sales may deal with its own area, and they may not see eye to eye when they want to reach a common goal. They may not understand each other's problems. So, therefore, this is one area of difficulty in the lateral movement. The other area is the physical distance. It's the physical barrier. Supposing accounts is stationed in the head office and the production unit is far away from it in the factory area, interacting on a daily basis may be a problem. The last but not the least is a lack of motivation. What do we mean by lack of motivation? When we are in the same category, in the same designation, and there is this latent fear that someone is going to overtake me, obviously there will be a lack of motivation. People may feel disinterested in reaching their goals. But there must be ways to improve. Regular meetings planned. It has to be focused, it has to be planned, where people should interact, people should discuss, people should focus on their goals is one way. The second way is exchange of ideas, a deliberate attempt to exchange ideas among different departments will smoothen out the difficulties. And the third is to develop a friendly approach. A conscious, friendly approach will develop a fraternity. This fraternity is healthy for corporate communication. Therefore, if we can follow these areas, if we can exercise consciously to improve the relationship among people, among peers, then the problems in the lateral movement will be erased. We now come to the last part of the corporate movement of communication, that is crosswise or diagonal movement. In the diagonal movement, we do not have negatives as such, but we surely have much of positive. Why do we call it crosswise? Because crosswise is a movement which ignores, which negates the hierarchy from top to bottom or bottom to top. We can include, in this movement, we can include the watchman who's at the lowest of the rung and the CEO who is right at the top. In case of emergency, particularly in cases of emergency, it is very effective. Supposing there's a strike and immediate action has to be taken, everyone pulls in. It is an activity, it is a communication where we avoid hierarchy, and because we avoid hierarchy, it is a big boost for the morale of every employee. People forget who is at the top, who is at the bottom. There is this emotional bonding among people. There is this sense of well-being, reaching out, and this builds up the camaraderie, the friendship, the togetherness among the entire unit. And lastly, obviously we can say it builds up cooperation among all the employees. I hope that this particular unit of corporate movement has helped us to understand what are the different what are the existing kinds of movements, and how we can utilize these movements in our daily corporate activity. Thank you so much.